Business Strategies Talk Show. It is the premier talk show for entrepreneurs looking to scale to their first $1 million. And this is where I bring you front row and center to the blueprint behind the brand, straight from the millionaires themselves. All right, so I'm your host, Dr. Marcea, physician, life and business coach, and radio personality. And I help female entrepreneurs who are navigating this business building process so they can harness the power of their story, that they can build an authentic platform, and then they can chart a pathway to business success. And today I am beyond excited to welcome a powerhouse who has done just that in the form of Sharrarne Morton. She is a dynamic force in the media, leadership, and entrepreneurship. She's a former political analyst and television commentator who has spent decades shaping conversations on national and global platforms. Today, she is a celebrated SiriusXM radio host, award-winning media entrepreneur, producer, and visionary founder and first president of the Black Door Society, a prestigious global network designed to elevate and create powerful pathways for Black women in leadership, business, and media, which I am also a member. Sharrarne is known for her ability to amplify voices, build influential brands, and create platforms where women can be seen, heard, and respected. Her career includes on-air appearances, major media partnerships, and even starring in the National Alfa Romeo commercial filmed in Kentucky, highlighting her versatility and demand as an on-screen personality. From political commentary to executive leadership to empowering women through media exposure, Sharrarne Morton has made her mark as a media mogul who understands the business and the strategy behind visibility, influence, and income. So first of all, welcome Sharrarne to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was an excellent introduction. Am I all of that? Thank you so
And
much.
more. What they say, and a bag of chips and a Coke and a Sprite, all the things. And it has been an honor to be in your space. And I am super honored that you were able to come on the Boss Business Strategies. We're going to be picking your brain, if you will, and just celebrating just kind of who you are and what has been going on in life. Is that okay?
That's fine. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. Can you just kind of share with the listeners just a little bit about who Sharrarne Morton is from the inside?
I think you did a good job of that, but I will reiterate. I think I'm a person who believes in sharing other people's voices, especially women. I built my reputation one platform, one interview, one step at a time. And I think from my early work in media, which started when I was actually in college, I always knew that I wanted to be in television and or radio. So from that point, I believe that my evolution into where I am now, I think I cultivated my presence, my voice, because I think that those things were rooted in authenticity. I think people appreciate how authentic I've been. And so my visibility has never been about just being seen. It was always being about being understood and understanding that I am here for the purpose of helping others.
I love that. You mentioned that your media start was, way back when I know you went to college for media. And what was it that intrigued you about media and visibility that you know that you were on this track?
Well, when I was a little girl, I used to watch Jane Kennedy. I know I'm telling my age, but she was the first Black woman to anchor a sports program on CBS News, or CBS, I should say, CBS Sports. And when I saw her, I was like, oh, wow, I can do that, right? And when I was a little girl, I used to just hold a hairbrush in my hand and go around to my family members interviewing them. So once I got to high school, which I guess I should say it really started in high school because I was the editor of my school newspaper or the co-editor. And then I went off to Rutgers in New Jersey to their phenomenal school of journalism, and I had a radio show on campus as well. So I knew from the time I was a little girl that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's phenomenal. And I know as you're talking about media and visibility and all the things, and we've had this conversation before. When folks see folks in media, they think it's glamorous. They think that, you have it all together. You think, the Rolodex that you have is, you don't have to do anything but, lay around and maybe get fed grapes. I don't know. But if you were able to dispel the myth or to kind of give insight, what would you tell folks, entrepreneurs, those that are watching about what I guess the cost of media and visibility would be?
Yeah, it's a high cost, but we get paid. Our job is to make it look good, to make it look glamorous. So once you are in front of that camera or behind the mic, your job is to pull people in, right? And they don't understand what goes on behind the scenes to make you look good. You understand now, Dr. Marcia, because you've had the opportunity to take my place at several events and you see it's a hustle, right?
Indeed.
So I think each chapter of my professional journey has sharpened a different skill, whether that's communications, whether that's leadership, whether that's business strategy, and the art of connecting people. I think for me, media has been the thread, the glue, for all of that. That's held all that together, I should say.
Yeah, and you mentioned, me stepping in for you, and that was actually my first time on TV.
Right.
Is when I got the call to say, "Hey, Dr. Marcia, can you stand in for me?" And I was like, "Yeah," although I didn't know all of the other parts of what was going to happen, but that was the beginning. Since then, I've been on, different radio and TV programs, and so when I want to thank you for that, but you are trailblazing. And I wanted to know what were some of your qualities early on that helped you to even break into the media, TV, radio, all the things. What was that?
You said when or what?
What qualities did you possess that
Um,
helped you step into that zone?
I think that I knew that as a Black woman, I couldn't wait for opportunities. I had to create my own. But the other thing is that I I was coming from a family that had a lot of connections that were politically active. And then I became politically active way back in the 90s. And I knew a lot of people massaged a lot of relationships as a result of that. And that helped open the doors to television for me. Me being in politics, and I was asked to, offer political commentary on this ABC 7 News Channel 8 platform. Just one time. They just wanted me to come in one time and sit on a panel with these three white guys who are now my very best friend, or some of my best friends. And they asked us to come back again and again and again because the ratings were so high. Everybody loved
Wow.
us together. Our synergy was great. And they especially liked me because I was the only Black person, the only woman. And, I had a little bit of a sharp tongue and I spoke out for people of color. And that one time, that one opportunity turned into 14 years of us doing that commentary on the platform. So I
Wow,
didn't wait for
14
it.
years.
14 years. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. You talked about creating your opportunities. You talked about massaging relationships. That sounds like networking. That sounds like, leveraging. That sounds like, I guess working what you have. But
Yeah.
also, you also mentioned about being authentic, right? So, what advice would you give to women, just entrepreneurs, just in general, as far as how you do that? How do you massage the connections?
Well, firstly, you cannot be selfish. You have to let people know that you are there to help them. What is it that I can do to help you? Is what you start off with. You let people know that you want them to succeed as well, right? It's not all about just you, it's about them. And once people understand that you truly want to help them, that you truly believe in them, that you truly want to uplift them and help them to reach success as well, then those tend to be people who are friends for life, who you can always go to, who will always open doors for you. And then what I did was I turned around and I opened doors for others, right? I think that it's important that we lift as we climb. And I think that's what I'm known for. And so I'm able to pick up a phone and call almost anyone and ask them if they can help me or one of my members of Black Door Society or anyone. And they're usually more than happy to oblige because they know that, for as long as they've known me, I've been in this game for almost 30 years. They can say, hey, Sharrarne has always been there. She's always willing to help. And so I'm going to help her. So that's been a true blessing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you definitely do that. I'll co-sign that as well as a lot of the people that I know who know you as well. So let's talk about other opportunities. Now, in the intro, I also shared that you starred in an Alfa Romeo commercial. Tell us about that experience and more so, and what you learned about branding and being camera ready.
Well, that experience was amazing, right? It was the first time that I'd ever done a national commercial. And I was led to that experience because of my membership with Women Elevating Women, that is founded by our wonderful friend and partner, Betty Hines. She had put me in some rooms that I'd never been in before. She too was all about helping to create opportunities for women. And so I met Kim Bunton through Betty Hines at one of the Women Elevating Women conferences. And also Renee Butler. Renee Butler was standing there talking to Kim. She had just met Kim at the Women Elevating Women conference. And so I walked up and we remembered seeing each other the year before, I think at the Women Presidents Organizations conference, which is fabulous as well. And she just asked me, if I was interested in being a part of her group. Um, I think she calls it Fly Ageless and Hip, or Hip Ageless and Fly. Kim, please don't kill me if I have that wrong. And I said, sure. And within that group were numerous opportunities. And she said, Sharrarne, I think this would be a great opportunity for you. And she selected me to star in that Alfa Romeo luxury car commercial.
And
Um,
it was hot.
it was
It
hot,
was
right?
hot. You're on a red suit.
Yeah, they told me, they were like, we have to see what you're going to wear. What color do you think? And I said, well, red always looks good on me. And they said, well, we got to see the suit. So I had to take a picture and send it down there to the producers. And they were like, yes, that's it. So,
That thing was hot, 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 hot.
yes,
So, so good, so good. So excited for you. So I want to talk about the $1 million moment, okay? And that is the moment, not so much the moment you made $1 million, okay, but the what happened to create that? What would you say would be that thing that helped you to get to, okay, I'm going to say financial success?
well, first, I want to be transparent and say that, you know, the $1 million is all on paper, right? That's my worth, my net worth, and that includes so many things. But I would say that the moment that I got over the hump and really began to see my brand grow was when I started Black Door Society for almost 5 years ago. Oh my God, I can't believe how fast time is flying. And began to network with these other organizations, as I mentioned previously, Women Elevating Women and Women Presidents Organization, and began to collaborate with women who were making 10 and 50 and $100 million in revenue. And so once I started collaborating with them, and they started asking me, hey, can you sub on this contract? That's when I would say things began to grow. I began to get more contracts, more visibility. And once I started working on these contracts and doing really well on them, and people saw how well I was doing on them and bringing them money in, then they were interested in doing more work with me. So it is really definitely all about networking and collaboration. And people liking you and trusting you.
Yeah, that know, like, and trust is such a powerful a statement. And so
Yeah.
let's talk about mindset because I'm a life and business coach and work a lot in the mindset realm. Based off of what you shared, what are some of the things that you say to yourself? How do you shift the mind as whether you're going after contracts, whether you are doing networking or what have you?
Say that firstly, I'm very rooted in God and spirituality and understanding my blessings, right? So every day, all day, I'm thankful and I thank God for blessing me. I don't take anything for granted. So I believe that's a big part of it, to be honest. And I'm not trying to make anybody turn religious or sound too religious or overzealous, but in my heart of hearts, I know where my blessings come from. So I am always certain to acknowledge that. Um, I think also I realized that my story wasn't meant to stay quiet. I think I was meant to illuminate paths for others. And so I think your question had to do with what shifted, what changed, what made me head down the path that I was on. Was that
Or
the
the
question?
mindset.
Yeah.
What do you say to yourself that helps you kind of get over the hump and into these spaces?
I think that once I embraced my truth and what I knew I was here for, I stopped seeking validation and I just felt like I needed to begin building a legacy.
Ah,
So that moment it ignited a fire in me, I believe, that transformed how I moved, how I led, and how I influenced. And from then on, I believe success didn't necessarily chase me. I believe I embodied it and I was guided by resilience and vision and some really tough things that I've been through. But again, I was deeply committed to lifting others as I climbed. Does
yeah.
that answer that
It
question for
does.
you?
It does. And so let's keep going with the lifting others. You have helped countless entrepreneurs. You're in the visibility media space. I want you to help those that are listening. When we talk about media, what are some of the fixable media mistakes that entrepreneurs do that you tend to see a lot of?
Well, you do always have to be camera ready. I always tell ladies especially that because we're judged more harshly. A man can roll out of bed and show up on television, you know, with yellow teeth and scraggly beard and wrinkled clothing. We can't do that. It's really, really important that you present yourself a certain way because people are going to treat you the way you present, right? So whatever you want people to believe about you, they're going to believe it when they see it. And so I like to tell ladies because I tend to be very glamorous. Today I'm not super glamorous because I was rushing in from errands, but I tend to walk out always prepared to meet someone who can change my life. And I always tell people you are the walking, talking billboard of your brand. And that means your hair, your makeup, your clothing, your shoes, your nails, everything needs to be on point. Now, it did actually help me that in that my mother, my grandmother, and even my great grandmothers were that way. They were always dressed to the nines, always wore makeup when they were younger, high heels. And so that's how I was raised. But it really did make a difference in my life because um, people really truly believe that, what is the saying? Something is reality. Gosh, I can't. It's at the tip of my tongue.
Perception is reality.
Perception is reality. Thank you. So how they perceive you is what they truly believe of you. And I like to let women know that. A lot of times they'll be like, well, people need to accept me as I am. But that sounds great, but it's just not true. It's just not how people accept you. Just like you don't accept people how they are, and you don't believe people, you don't trust them unless they look the part. We're all guilty of that kind of judgment. So,
That's
That's
good.
important. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's good.
important. Yeah.
So you talked about personal, I get your personal brand kind of showing up with, a little bit of makeup and kind of showing the part. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the business, the branding for the business. What is it that entrepreneurs can do in order to get their brand out using media? What would you suggest for them?
Well, I think a lot of times people think, oh, I don't need a budget for media, right? I can get away with just doing social media. Social media is not a lot if you're not well known, right? If you are a really popular content creator, then yes. Um, but otherwise, you really going to need more than social media to promote your brand, to build your brand. I always tell my clients, hey, you need to be doing television, you need to be doing radio, you need to be doing magazines, press releases, and social media. You need to be doing all of those things. And you need to be letting the media, meaning TV and radio, know who you are. You need to, maybe if you can't afford to hire a publicist, then you need to be pitching yourself to radio, television, and news outlets to get on their shows and promote your brand. That's extremely important, especially nowadays, because everything, the news, social media, everything is saturated. And it's really, really hard for you to kind of step out and stand alone and people recognize who you are. You need as much help as possible.
Yeah. So speaking about help, you are the founder and the president of Black Door Society, which helps to elevate Black women. Can you share a little bit about the inception of BDS, as we affectionately call it, and what it is what was the goal?
Well, originally the goal was just to celebrate me overcoming um, uh, COVID, which I'd almost died from back in 2020. And I ended up being asked to speak. And I was on this platform, this virtual platform, because we were all virtual back then and still are, with these, I think it was three other ladies, and I didn't know them. Dr. Roz, our vice president, was one of them. And I said, hey, ladies, I'm always meeting phenomenal women and I'm always collecting cards and saying, hey, let's keep in touch. And then everybody's so busy, we never keep in touch. Let's really keep in touch and just kind of, exchange opportunities when we come across something we can't attend or something we can't do that might be good for the other person. Let's do that. Sure. And then I just said, hey, let's start this as an organization. Let's just have the four or five of us come together and exchange opportunities. And the next thing I know, more and more women were wanting to be a part of the organization. And I looked up and we turned it into what it is today, which I think Black Door Society has transformed people's experiences into empowerment. I think we are creating spaces where women can learn and rise and thrive. And so I think I turned Black Door Society into, a meaningful impact on women's lives, both personal and business, because many of us are good friends. It's truly a sisterhood.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you, can you share, some of the wins, but I'm going to tell you, I'll share, right?
Yeah.
I can say that my personal life as well as my business life has been impacted in a positive way. Even just, I think that the first few days of just being in the organization, we had opportunities that we couldn't even, it was so much stuff happening that we couldn't even keep up. I found myself at the governor's birthday party where, some are in Detroit, some are local. We're at the Gaylord events. And so it has just been a phenomenal experience. I also became a certified women owned business through the organization, got other connections. I mean, it has just been one thing, one opportunity after the other. And it has just been an amazing space for me. Sharrarne, can you just share how listeners can go to find out more about Black Door Society?
Yes, certainly. They can go to blackdoorsociety.org. That's Black blackdoorsociety.org. And if you're interested in finding out even more after looking at the website, you can reach out to us through the website, and we can fill you in on, how you can follow us. You can also follow us, by the way, on social media. And a lot of people, a lot of ladies, they come to our events, and that's how we get to meet them, get to know them. And so when they apply to, or when they're invited to come into Black Door Society, some of them we know. Like, I think you came to one of our luncheons before you became a member, right, Dr. Marcea?
I did. I came to the one that Betty was honored.
Yes, Betty and the First Lady, Dawn Moore, I
Yes.
believe. Yes. So many of the members have, they were supporting us even before they became members. So we like to see that. We love when women support each other. I love it especially. I just really love the bond that we have as sisters. Sometimes we get mad at each other, sometimes we talk about each other, but I think we love each other
Well,
overall. Have
but
a great time when we get together.
we do, and the bond is real, and that's what some. And we're both in a sorority. We both are members of
Yeah,
Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. But this is a different type of bond. It's a smaller group, but
yeah,
there are these ladies. I would do anything for them,
yes,
and we just can't wait to get together the next time. So
yeah.
so Sharrarne, so what is next? Now, what I didn't mention was that you also launched a business in Dubai, and I'm sure you have a whole bunch of other things that are happening. But what is next for Sharrarne Morton or Black Door Society or your Morton Media? What's coming up?
I think what's next for me is I want to get maybe two or three really large contracts so that I can subcontract those out to my Black Door Society members. And I then want to retire.
So
Yeah, I'm tired. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I just want to be on a yacht somewhere in the Mediterranean with someone feeding me grapes. I think you mentioned feeding grapes earlier, and in a fabulous bikini because I still got it. And leading Black Door Society still, but giving opportunity, even more opportunity to women so that they can scale their businesses. That's what I'm hoping to do in the next year or two.
I love that. So to be specific, I want you to tell us what type of contracts do you fulfill? What is it that you do for at Morton Media?
Well, I do all kinds of contracts. For the most part, it's been media and public relations, amplifying the brands of my clients, getting them on television and radio, getting them to do press conferences, getting them into books, getting them in front of people who can, give them grants to expand their businesses, getting them in front of organizations who can help launch their businesses in other countries. And so I've been doing professional development where I subcontracted out to you, Dr. Marcia, and a couple of other BDS women. So, but I'm looking to get even larger contracts that will make a difference in our lives. That takes a lot more work, a lot more networking, but it's doable, and that's what I'm hopeful that I can do.
Well, there you have it. Now it's out into the world, and I look forward to them reaching out to you. How do they contact you?
Your listeners can reach out to me by going to SharrarneMorton.com. My name is really long. I hope you put it somewhere. Dr. Marcia, Sharrarne, Sharrarne, Morton, like the salt, Morton.com, or you can just go to blackdoorsociety.org and you can still reach out to me there.
Awesome. So we're going to close out today. Thank you so much for being on the show. I look forward to what is coming next for you. And also, I'm looking forward to our next hangout because it's coming soon. It's coming soon. Thank you again, Sharrarne.
Yes, yes, yes. Over the holidays, hopefully. You're welcome.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, and there you have it. That was Sharrarne Morton Media, a mogul and founder and president of Black Door Society. She dropped the gems. Make sure you reach out to her. This program, Boss Business Strategies, is all about the power, it's all about the platform, and it is all about the pathway to business success. Make sure you follow us, you like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next time here on Boss Business Strategies.